Oh yeah, showing off that Viscerai map. Yep. Oh no, that's gonna be the Oldhim. Oh.
Yeah, you said Taylor was blue. Oh, Taylor is.
Yeah.
Taylor is brown.
I think you're under the red one right now.
I'll fix that in a second.
Oh, you're good. No, this one should be Taylor.
Really?
Yeah, under
No,
blue.
Logan's playing.
Well, you're under the blue one right now.
Oh, right, okay. Already started.
Yeah. I mean, it's scared.
Yep.
Yeah. Old man.
All right.
I was actually on Bravo?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or is that Oldhim?
Oldhim, yeah. It's
Oldhim, okay. I don't know why I thought Bravo. Oldhim. Alright, let's take a looky here. Does have an arcane lantern. I imagine he's not going to opt to use that here. He probably has no rune boots. Crown of Seed, I imagine we'll see Crown of Seeds, Tunic, no rune boots, Rampart. Or we could see no rune gloves plus Ironhide legs. It's a possibility. So it'll either be Crater Fist and no rune boots, or no rune gloves and Ironhides. I imagine you run the Crater Fist.
Yeah, I'm a big on the Crater Fist.
And then they're also playing a copy of Quelling Slippers.
Which I think that plays better than the Ironhide.
Yeah.
And the Viscerai, or the Briar, just because you have the option for quelling down some of the damage.
You can do more than 2 damage in one turn. Looking like a fairly stock Briar list. Also playing 2 Sigil of Suffering.
Is he playing the Corsham?
Nope.
Interesting.
No. Well, just 1 Gorgarian Tome. Revel, Channel, Snatch, Sonata,
Typical good shit.
Pulse. Also playing the 1 Amulet of Earth, just as a consideration to have another Blue Earth pitch, I suppose. But yeah, fairly stock Briar list.
I like seeing the Cook's Commotion.
Oldhim.
Pushing those pummels.
Yeah, 6 pummels, I imagine. Yellows and reds. Yeah, six pummels, and then just like some aggro, some cards for an aggro suite if necessary. Like we have E-Strikes. We have what's that card called? Footsteps, not Footsteps.
Visual Footsteps. Or Visual Fortress, or
no.
I see. Was that
Rouse the Ancients? Rouse the Ancients. Lead the charge for Prisms. But then just like otherwise a fairly typical Oldhim deck. A lot of block 3s and otherwise. But it looks like we're getting started in our game. Rampart is the pick on the shield. And we do have the Titan's Fist, or Crater Fist, yeah. So imagine that is some null rune.
A little bit of a glare.
Looks like those are null rune boots, I'm pretty sure. So, and then probably just Tunic.
Interesting starting hands. You got the channel right out of the gate.
Is this the third? Ooh, channel like frigid. Okay, I thought you were saying channel my heroic. I was like, this would be the third Briar in a row we've had on stream. Turn one channel my heroic.
He's like, damn, that's pretty. I'm gonna put that back.
Yeah, Yeah. All right, so this is a very, very nice. So this is basically what you want to see for your Logan. Taylor just went make a rune chant, Arsenal pass, and then you got to go channel like Frigid,
Threaten a frostbite for your
frostbite
turn
on when as
yeah.
well. This is like exactly the kind of stuff you want to be doing if you're playing Oldhim. Just a little bit of damage, a lot of disruption, cover up your turn. Yeah. I do think I think the big thing I want to see from Logan here for this matchup is just holding some of those key disruptive cards like Channel Like Frigid for those Channel Out Heroic turn.
Yeah, the late game kind of set it off.
Obviously, I think this early in the game, there's nothing wrong with just going and deploying it, slowing things down just a little bit. But as we begin to get in that mid and late game territory, I do think you want to be like much more like conservative and like deploy those resources like when it's time.
Right.
So we're pitching a Nimblism and a Coax. We're going to come in with an E-Strike. I'm assuming for 7 in a Rune Chant. Crown of Seeds activation. Pitch on the Rouse of Ancients. Block with Shield. We'll see how many.
Got the 2 ice cards.
Yeah, we'll see how many cards.
So tomorrow for the Arsenal.
We'll see how many cards Logan wants to lay down here for.
I don't think he wants to. I think he's fine with that.
Yeah, just 5 damage. It's early in the game. Possibility of keeping this Channel Like Frigid.
Yeah.
If you can keep this Channel Like Frigid around for another turn, then that's a lot of damage soaked up.
Is that pummel?
If that's a pummel, that means he does get to keep the Channel Mount Heroic around, or the Channel Like Frigid around.
Yes. And then being able to Arsenal the So Tomorrow is still a great option, either for Crown or draw an additional card on their turn.
For sure. Wintersville coming in for a cold 4. And if you're Taylor here, you're really... I think your biggest consideration is what are the odds that Logan has the ability to keep around this Channel Like Frigid for another turn?
Especially with no onboard go again, right?
Yeah, and so. I think that is what has to inform your blocks here. If you're assuming that Logan has pretty much exactly pummel, if you're assuming that Logan has pummel, then you almost want to just go ahead and lay down 8 block here, because your next turn's probably going to be mostly forfeit anyways.
Right.
You might be able to make 2 attacks at most if you have a good blue pitch. But you know, how good is that? You know, 4 to 8 points of damage versus, you know, that 4 points of damage you took earlier on as we get into that late game. You know, if that 4 damage doesn't sound like a lot, but as the game gets deeper and deeper, it's only 10 turns, you know.
There's a block Sonata. This is blocking 2.
I like this block, actually. You know, this Sonata probably not going to come much in handy anytime soon.
He's like, there it was!
Yeah. Yeah, Sonata's not going to be particularly good in the face of this Channel Like Frigid anyways.
Right.
So at best, you're going to you're going to play the card out of your arsenal and then arsenal it this turn. So, you know, the Sonata feels a little underwhelming at this point in the game.
I think a lot of players, when it comes to blocking with their powerhouse cards to help like pivot or push for the damage, you never want to block with them early, but you have to always remember you have 2 copies left. You eventually will get back around to see it.
Especially against Oldhim.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be pressed to see your other 2 Sonatas this game. Okay, so another nice upside here for Taylor. So Scar for a Scar lead here. That will have go again.
Oh, you mean the $600 Scar for a Scar alternate art from Team Covenant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hurts a little bit, but yeah.
Now the rough part for Taylor here is that he had to pitch 2 reds to get that out, which means for these last 2 turns he is blanked on drawing a blue. So.
But honestly, probably the best turns to do it, so you can guarantee it on later turns around the channel. So if you do have that threaten of the cold hammer, you're dealing with 1 additional cost versus 2.
Yeah.
I think with both of them being banked up there, there's not much you can really do on your turns anyway.
And odds are, look, if your opponent manages to keep it Channel Lake Frigid around for a third turn, something, you know, you maybe you're not meant to win that game anyways.
Yeah. Some force was not on your side. Coming in for the Spinal Crush.
This is a good one.
And the Go-Agains will always affect him. It's coming in for 9?
Should just be 7, I believe.
Okay.
We're used to it coming in for 9 because Starvo.
Oh, God.
But, you know, this only is 1 card and a piece of armor from Taylor, so not too devastating. Like, having to use your armor early, not the best thing in the world, but depending on the context of your hands, maybe you can use your Crown of Providence to some amount of degree here. You always have that 2 points banked up on the grass, but it's just gonna like to block with 2 cards from the hands. Which,
blocking for 6.
Yeah, I think that, you know, generally I think that does give us a little bit of context about the hands when players make a play like that. Just to block with a 2 cards hand rather than a card from hand, a piece of armor. It might mean that the strength of Taylor's hand is like not necessarily as high as an average Briar turn.
Right. I've been playing Briar for about, I want to say 4 months now, 3 months at least.
All right, starts with an Amulet of Earth. Snatch gonna be the play. Kind of an odd time for an early Snatch. Because no cards in hand. I can't imagine this is a turn where you want to break boots. But maybe this is just something you want Logan to feel like he needs to block because you have some kind of action for the rest of your turn. So Crown plus a card from hand will cover that up nicely.
Now, I'm a bit of a gambler. Like, I would almost want to see if I could force the boost to pop right now while stuff like I still in control of the 5-card hand.
Yeah, I don't think I think it would.
I mean, Spinal Crush hit, so he can't get Go again.
It hit, but it didn't crush.
I didn't crush. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, Command and Conquer coming back here from Logan. Crown of Providence gonna block. I imagine we're gonna see that card from the arsenal go away.
The baby Crown of Seeds.
Crown of Seeds was so good we had to make a generic version that
keep everyone else in the game.
That goes away. All right. Well, honestly, this is probably Taylor's window of opening here.
Yeah,
that's probably one of the less disruptive turns you're gonna get from Logan this game. But Swarming Gloomveil to start here from Taylor, so not a good sign, honestly.
So obviously, you have to make auras instant speed.
Yeah, so obviously Logan has to block this, or the Swarming Gloomveil will get Go again from your Briar trigger.
Correct. Yeah.
But you know, as long as he's aware of that, then. But obviously we're in. So now we're in different reactions.
Yeah.
We'll see what Logan opts for here. We could have an Ice React.
Sink Below?
We could have an Ice React to put a card back on top of the library. Sink Below is going to be played. We'll see what the redraw is. Looks like it's not a defense reaction.
Oasis Respite?
Oasis Respite would work here.
Yeah, you can block 8 right here.
Pitches a Macho Grande. Let's see if it is the Oasis. Yeah, I like the Crown going to ground first.
So, 1 prevention of floating.
There's the Oasis. So that's going to cleanly cover up that Swarming Gloomveil.
Oh, another Lightning Press.
That's 9.
He's got 2 more.
So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's still 9 points.
Oh, he misplayed.
Yeah, he miscounted how much damage was coming across here. And the good news is that with the context of that hand where he just had 2 lightning presses, not that big of a detriment. You know, sometimes just getting the lightning presses out of your hand's good. Anyways,
I mean, here's not a bad turn. It's coming in for 4. No threat, no frostbite.
Oh.
No, I can't.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We're about to get that message. How much time's left in the round?
Yeah, it's 38 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we're 11 and off. Okay.
12. Yeah, 11 or 12 minutes off.
There's Chama Heroic.
Okay, so
We're getting a setup.
I
Using Tunic.
do. Let's see what he can pivot put together. Okay, race face. So this doesn't have go again, but does mean that we won't be seeing a cold 4 if this connects.
But look at that channel Mount Heroic in his hand. Perfectly well timed. Like,
Yeah,
Taylor got that race face just in time.
yeah, for sure. All right, gonna cover up 4 damage from the race face. Let's see how many. So that's still either a defense reaction or 2 cards that Logan has to commit here.
It's coming in for a 9, right?
Oh yeah,
So,
9. Yeah, so 3 cards or 2 defense reactions. Or maybe an unmovable. I don't know if he has any of those. No unmovables in the list, so we're gonna have some number of either normal cards or defense reactions. Looks like Spinal Crush is coming down.
I mean, at this point, if you can keep this one ice card in hand, channel for the arsenal for the following turn.
So we have 5, 6, 7, 8. We're coming up 8 damage. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So they should have taken 1, I believe. I'm not sure, honestly. Regardless, the biggest
Oh,
thing.
he Oldhim pitched.
Oldhim
He
pitched,
pitched,
sure.
yeah. It
Gotcha.
was so tomorrow.
Okay, so now you're going to take a cold 4, but it did cost your opponent a lot of resources to get to this point. And as long as you draw a blue,
Yeah.
you know, that 1 frostbite not going to be too much of a road bump here.
Do you have 2 Chama Heroics in his hand?
I do see a Command and Conquer.
I feel there's 2 middle cards with 2 Chill Mountain Heroics.
It
But I
might
can't
be.
tell for a fact.
That would be.
That's a Coke's Commotion in the front.
Yeah, it is a Coke, so yeah. 2 channel Heroics would not be ideal, but I guess you could just pitch both of them to the Grasp to keep your current channel Heroic around.
Well, I
for
think at
the
this
turn,
point
so
you might go for the attack with the Coke's Commotion.
Frostbite
Like
hit.
Quicken. He's doing a good job saving his equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, Taylor playing
Somewhat
what I would
conservatively.
call patiently.
Yeah.
It doesn't like have the appearance of being patient, but yeah, we'll see.
Yep, pitching 1 for the Cokes.
Yep. So Chow Heroic hits the pitch zone, so 1 more Earth card, and we will get to see that Chow Heroic stay around for another turn.
Coming in for 7. So you're really going to pull some cards out of his hand here. Are you familiar with what modes they usually choose
Yeah.
for the Cokes?
So it's what Quicken Token, Gain a Life, and
Draw a card.
Draw a card. So it's usually like Quicken Token plus
Draw a card.
Draw a card, yeah. Now I think there is some consideration where you don't want to give Oldhim and I guess really both of those modes are like not too
I think
devastating
at this
for Oldhim.
point you're fine. If you didn't have a Channel Mount Heroic, you'd be in a very terrible situation. But knowing that you can always push that additional 3 on everything that you're drawing, this will be forcing 2 cards for every block minimum.
For sure. Logan really tanking here. There's almost a consideration because you do have those Rouse the Ancients as Logan, that you can easily push 17 damage in a turn if you just have the right cards.
The right setup.
Yeah. And or that Quicken Token could
I haven't
make a
really
big difference.
I haven't been noticing, but do you think Logan's been doing this pitch stacking for Oldhim? I really haven't.
A little bit.
on that.
I don't think he's been doing
Intentionally.
I don't think he's been doing it super heavily. I think Oldhim just lends himself to doing pitch stacking as a result of the way the game plays out. Most of your blue cards are like very high impact anyways, like your Glacial Footsteps and such. So as long as you just like pitch your Glacial Footsteps, and now here's a nice card, make sure that goes with that when that comes back
So there were
around.
no blocks.
No blocks. I think I like this play from Logan. You're at a pretty healthy life total. There is a reasonable world where that Quicken Token helps you push lethal, not on this next turn cycle, but the turn cycle after.
Right.
Where like this turn you could attack with like Glacial Footsteps and then maybe Winter's Wail,
Very true.
and that comes across for 12. So like getting this Quicken Token could very much make a big impact on the rest of this game. All right, looks like we have a Revel in Rune Blood. Gonna make 4 rune
I don't
chants.
think he can. He didn't have non-attack with an attack already played.
Oh, he's just gonna play it for the go again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That feels.
I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Yeah. But he has lost some value on that play.
Yeah, the 4 damage from Revel Runeblood is... That card is nuts.
Yeah.
You talk about 0 for 4s with Go Again, but that card is on a different level when it comes to 0 for 4s with Go Again. Alright, Logan got opt to crown here. He did have a Glacial Footsteps in hand, so... is giving up a little bit of that ability to... Possibly giving up a little bit of the ability to be aggressive with this Quicken token. But could just be like stashing the Quicken token for later. When he has the ability to make an attack of that caliber. So Crown will soak up one of the arcane damage. I imagine Boots got activated, soak up another arcane damage, and then Shield goes in front, so we'll take 1 physical off of that whole attack.
I guess keep the channel heroic.
Does keep Channel heroic and has an embodiment of lightning for next turn. So we could see, you know, depending on what Logan does here, we could see Taylor really make a big pivot. Ooh, but Command and Conquer Quickens is going to be a real nice way to kind of stymie this potential big turn from Taylor. And I imagine that depending on what this card is, I am hard pressed to believe that putting 2 cards in front of this Command and Conquer is worth keeping around your card in arsenal. I think you're more worried about the 6 damage at this point in the game than the card in your arsenal.
And based on what cards you have in hand in arsenal, this might be the time where you throw your Tunic and your Grasp into the bust to save 1 card to actually optimize that Channel heroic turn you fought for.
Yeah, like is this 1 card in my hand?
Oh, okay.
That is not what you wanted to see out of. That is the last thing you wanted to see if you're Taylor here.
Yeah.
So now you lose your card in your arsenal, you lose a card from your hand, you took an additional 4 points of damage, and okay, well Logan opted. I guess Logan didn't have the resources to make a Winter's Wail swing there, or felt like it probably wasn't worth doing and not having a card in the arsenal. But just like if Logan had also had the ability to make that Winter's Wail and have an arsenal there, this game could be.
That's not bad play.
Okay.
Then we'll into a snatch.
Yeah, we have
10.
Snatch for 10 with Go Again from the embodiment.
You just let him draw, baby.
Yeah.
I think you just roll the dice. If you can close this game out next turn, he's got the erase face.
Yeah, you have some good attacks here. If we can make... I'm trying to see what all these cards are.
If we had one with Crush, be able to use your Crater Fist to kind of go over the top.
It does look like, considering some amount of blocks here.
Okay.
Some kind of Guardian attack that blocks for 3. And Oldhim. That is not... I think that is Pulse. So
yeah,
Pulse. So we're gonna get both. We're gonna get both modes off of Oldhim. So put a card back, draw the card. It's a Scar for a Scar. That's a good one as well. So that's gonna come in for 7. Go again. But I think
sadly,
that,
no resource to finish up.
Yeah, Taylor being out of cards here though. So he got to have a 17 damage turn, but like between the Pummel and the Command and Conquer from last turn, and now the Oldhim having both modes on Pulse, it's just like too little of an impact.
Brothers in Arms.
Yeah, and so only gonna take very minimal damage that turn. Channel Heroic goes down, and we know that both of the other Channel Heroics are somewhere at the bottom of the deck, so unless Taylor finds a Sonata in the next couple turn cycles to shuffle them back into
he's in a hole.
A manageable position, he's gonna have a hard time crawling his way back into this game. 15 damage is a lot to get through on an Oldhim player.
Forcing Nature, getting that fusion.
Okay, this is a good start.
So at this point, do you pop the Amulet of Earth? How many cards left in hand?
Logan has a full grip. Taylor should have just the 4. He does. He didn't have an arsenal on his last turn, so So we're gonna have a rabble rouse. Looks like it was a red card on top from that brief moment we saw. So it's coming in for 5. The good news is that because the way rabble works, he won't get to draw a card off of it
Instant speed
unless he
popping.
wants to pop the amulet, which is I do like here. We'll see if Logan wanted to have any defense reactions or not. Looks like he does not, so should be a card draw there.
I think it's static for the entire turn as well.
Yeah.
All attacks get +1.
Yeah, so we get a card draw. We'll see how deep we can go with
Closing
this.
the chain.
Breaking the chain, interesting one. Okay, so we're gonna get a grasp with our Knight activation. Lightning Surge coming in for 1 and 5. 1 and 6. No go again though, so presumably this is the last attack this turn. Unless there is something we're not aware of.
I think you're right.
I believe that should be coming in for 6. Between the amulet and the Force of
Well, I
Nature.
think the force only affects the first attack, actually.
Oh, first.
Yeah.
This is coming in for 5. Shield, crown, and
Brother in arms.
or a brother's in arms. That works too.
I got you, man.
And now here's another Command and Conquer.
That's all you need.
Wow, this
I haven't said that in 2 years.
and again, maybe this is a consideration where if that last card in Taylor's arsenal is really impactful, we could see both pieces of armor go away here.
One resource floating. Is this just piece of tunic? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is because we saw him use the tunic earlier for.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
to
Go in the
activate
equipment,
crown.
save a card.
All right, so it's got to be a good one here for. It's gonna have to be a good card here for Taylor.
He still has one blocking
Thought
potential.
Sift only blocked for 2, but okay. So the card in his
Oh,
arsenal.
embodiment of Earth.
Oh, then my
Yeah.
nerve check. The card is arsenal, not that good. But we are going to Tome of Harvest to fix.
But man,
try
he
to
might
fix
get
the
some great cards
situation.
now.
Yeah.
That's one of those heart of the card moments. You've got to peel Oldhim's hand apart. So I'm assuming the Tome of Harvest has resolved.
Yeah, I believe the card in Arsenal is gone. And all 3 of those cards are in Taylor's hands.
Now we're just tanking on the sequence.
Yeah, this is tough here. Looks like E-Strike to lead, and I imagine this is gonna be coming in for 7, and we'll see an Arsenal at the end here for Taylor. I think your only other consideration is if you do have a 0 for 4 in your hand, you want to go ahead and hit this in for 5, give it go again, and then just go ahead and threaten lethal with your last card. Or if Logan puts some amount of block in front of this inline strike, you can just go great, Arsenal's card and pass.
Right.
So you get to like kind of play this mind game where it's like, do you think I have a 0 for 4 in hand? And looks like Logan is betting on no.
And honestly, if you had to go, oh Jesus Christ,
That is not good. That is what we call in the industry
wow.
not great.
Pitch, yeah.
Yeah, so here comes
for
4, 2, and 2. So that's going to be a lot of cards pitched away for Arcane Barrier. Starting with a Crown activation.
Prevent one.
That'll take care of one Burn Champ.
And the embodiment of
Well, actually,
next turn.
Realistically, you want to go AB1 on all 4 of the Rune Chants, and then AB1 Crown on your
Rosetta
2
Farm.
Rosetta
Yeah.
Farm. But obviously, players will have to make sure they sequence that correctly. All right, so there's that looks like a yellow pummel, so that's going to be taking care of our AB4.
Oh, interesting.
Another pummel. Ooh, Oasis
Next
Respite.
4.
That's a good time for Oasis.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be in the Oasis.
But here's the thing: that card is not an ice card.
Yeah. This is
You have to have a frostbite here in order to, I think, have a chance.
it's just gonna be an arsenal.
Oh wow!
This could-
Embodiment of lightning with a full grip.
This could
No
be
arsenal, but-
this could be big for Taylor here. A Gregarian Tome 2, wow.
Give me candy.
If he has an attack and then another or non-attack action,
Get that
here,
lightning
just have a
embodiment back.
second embodiment this turn.
I can hear his brain like right now going, "Let's go!"
Yeah, it's just hit it. You get, like all the synapses connected at once. Okay, so unfortunately
so it's
doesn't have the sequencing, but that is a new Earth Lore Surge. So that is going to be an additional 3 attack coming in, 3 damage coming in on the next attack. It's so Scar for 7.
I'll be honest, that's why I would want the actual what's it, Overload. It's coming with that Dominate. What you got?
Yeah. As usual, start with the Crown activation. See where that gets us.
So we have another Oasis Respite in hand.
And Channelic Frigid. Who knows what else?
I mean, it's Oldhim, right? He's got plenty of options
Yeah,
to defend damage. The
lots of defensive
entire
options.
game.
These Oasis Respites definitely coming in on the right time. Crown gonna go in front, or Rampart coming in too. Gonna soak up that last piece of armor, and then if he wants to play the Respite, that would be the last 4 points of damage, and he would go up to 6 from the game
Get
of
lower
life.
life, yeah.
Just really thinking out how he wants to do these blocks here. You have to account for one or two more attacks this turn. So
Going for the sink below first.
okay, I like this sequencing because you do get to see what the rest of Taylor's turn looks like here, and it is just going to be an attack for a 2/2,
That's where the Oasis.
which
much more
Oasis
efficient.
will
Yeah.
cover that up very cleanly. So, and Logan can keep 2 cards in hand here. So, if we could see. Enlightened Strike.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
so we're
great.
gonna
Draw the
cycle.
arsenal. Okay.
Yep.
It's coming in for 5. If your hand's good enough, I think you just take it.
I do think
just take it.
odds are you're
Yep.
just taking this here, and Taylor seems to agree.
That's the risk.
And you just have to pray to fade a big dominate attack, but you're probably gonna reasonably be soaking up some number of cards out of Logan's hands.
All
here,
3 Oasis
so,
are gone.
yeah,
It's a good place to be.
yeah,
We've seen, I think, 2 sink belows.
yeah. We're gonna lead on Tome of Harvests, so we're gonna have 3 fresh cards to look at here.
Sonata. That's
Not as a good hit. Let's see what he finds. Embodiment of Lightning.
Don't whiff.
Oh, it's a Gloom
that's a
Veil.
good one.
That's a big one.
Oh, he paid into it too.
He paid into it. Unfortunately, he didn't find 2 cards, but Swarming Gloom Veil is probably one of the best cards you could have found off of that.
Yeah,
So
you've already made your first aura, so.
Logan, considering how he wants to prevent this arcane damage, I have to imagine he will crown and then figure out if he would like to arcane barrier after he takes a look at what his fresh card is. There's going to be yellow pummel on the pitch. And it does look like he's just going to opt to AB1 it. So, Enlightened Strike on the follow-up. That's going to sink the
free
card.
go again.
Yep.
Wow.
And at worst here, we're at least going to see 2 and 2 coming in from the Rosetta. So, still plenty more to come here from Taylor.
There's what, 2 cards left in hand?
Full grip still.
Oh, for Taylor, sorry.
Oh yeah, I think 2 in hand for Taylor.
Oh, he's drew the Blizzard.
Ooh, rabble rousing. I know it's not what it's called. That's just what I call it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that was a red, but I did miss it. We know it wasn't Gregarian Tome, so it's not as bad as it could have been.
Right. Because Logan says we just dancing
All right.
on the Rosetta Thorn.
So it was just for 2, so he did flip a blue off of that. Logan got opt to take the 2. Embodiment of Earth coming in. Here's our Swarming Gloom Veil. This is coming in for 4, because we made an Embodiment of Lightning and an Embodiment of Earth this turn.
Yep. What's it? Glacial Footsteps, Blizzard.
Okay, so now we're deploying the Blizzard,
Does he have
and
the blue?
you just have to hope that he doesn't have a blue or yellow here. Okay, opting not to pay. So this will be the last attack on this turn.
I think it's like a lightning press.
Lightning press would be huge. He only has one more though, so this will be his last one. So if you're Logan, you're really having to think about if you want to play around it or not. And looks like
Blocking
the
four.
answer is
He blocked it out.
no. Yeah.
One card left. Somebody probably just go straight to Arsenal.
I feel like at this point in the game, it's like, well, I don't know. He's at 2. If you swing the hammer, you definitively get to get a card out of his hands, right?
Yeah.
You swing for 4. Yeah, so I think it's actually kind of worth attacking with hammer there, because getting one card out of his hand might be worth more than
Especially when you can still
1
Oldhim
point of
react.
damage.
in
Exactly.
response.
I think that the 2 to 4 points you prevent with the attack is actually worth more than the 1 point you will prevent with crown. Or I guess like 2 points if you count crown plus shield, right? That's a force of nature. That's a good start.
Force of nature?
Alright, so he didn't have the reveal off of those force of natures, which
So there's no pump.
so there's no pump coming off of these, but we do have go again for this next attack. Which
Coax.
is a coax, which that's a good one. I do believe that is going to elicit some kind of response from Logan here. Not just because it's coming in for lethal, but because you probably don't want this trigger to happen. That draw card could very well put Taylor over the top of coming in for lethal this turn.
Logan can keep 2 cards.
Alright, so we've got Crown online, Rampart. I assume we're going to line up a card that blocks for 3.
Keep the 1 damage prevention floating.
Yep. Crown will get to cover up something later down on the chain.
No, he's using it now.
Wow,
The blocks
okay.
for 2.
And a Blizzard. Alright, so with the Blizzard, I think this play makes some more sense. And Taylor not having to pay into it again, so that's going to be the end of the line.
2 cards in hand for Logan?
Yeah, 2 cards, and again, I think this is
what you want.
this is a position where you want to hammer in.
Yeah.
Just strip those valuable cards away from Taylor.
Taylor's last chance is hopefully he has a blue. You take 1, take the frostbite, and try to put it
And
back.
it's a cold for too,
Yeah.
so you're definitely gonna be.
Well, he still has 1 on the gauntlet.
He has 1 on his grasp. So card from hand plus 1 on the grasp,
This is his last chance.
and we'll see what the follow up is. But at this point in the game, we do know that Taylor is not out of strong attacks, but out of a lot of stronger ones, and having to put 2 cards in front of that, because I assume just a pile of 2 blocks in hands. Entwine lightning with light. Okay, that's
You know what's coming.
yeah, that's probably ideally one of the best combinations you can have here.
It's a good 2 card.
I think that's the last Blizzard from Logan though in hands, which would be big here. Rampart Crown. Gonna need at least 1 more point of block on this for the lightning press to not be lethal. Or 2 more points, apologies. 2 more points of block for this not to be lethal. Really got to figure out how to sequence
one to
this
block,
turn correctly, yeah.
At least he's still in a good position, I still think, to keep 2 cards.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think it's going to come down to. I guess if Taylor is just attacking for 2 with Rosetta, you just take the 2 at this point, possibly. Ooh, the Tunic going away. And Arouse the Ancients.
He's trying to overblock for the lightning press.
Yeah, so this is 1, 2, 5, 6 points. So Taylor could leak in 1 damage with the press, but I think I'm of the opinion that most of the time it's worth just the fact that your opponent overblocked and just get through that way. Oh, the Swarming Gloomveil. I'm honestly surprised that Logan didn't play the... Assuming that one of the cards in his hand is Blizzard, I'm kind of surprised he didn't play it there.
He's kind of shut it down past the turn.
Yeah. But it could
He has the obligation of blocking more before he can stop the reserve from coming in.
Exactly.
That was his... Yeah, I think that's probably the better window.
Well, this is the last attack he's going to be making this turn. The Swarming doesn't have Go Again currently. He will have to... If it, so as long
if it
as
gets blocked out.
As long as it doesn't connect, you know, we'll be okay. Logan again, deep in the tank, thinking about what is the most optimal card to block with here. He has to make sure not to... Only a Winner's Bites. That's only blocking for 2, and the Crown Prevention for 1. So...
Yes, that still blocks it out.
That's if Taylor elects
to lightning press it.
Yeah, if he elects to press here, that would put him to 1.
I think you do it.
I think it's worth it.
But he has no resource to do anything else afterwards.
And I do believe that Winner's Bite is what I'm mistaken for a Blizzard, so...
Okay.
Because if you think, like, there's so many things you have in your deck that are easily deal 1 damage, right? Between, like, your arcane damage with rune chants and stuff, but I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with just arsenaling the lightning press and forcing your opponent to play around it for their next turn cycle either.
Okay, so here's where he probably uses the grasp based on what his hand is. Just take the 1.
Yeah. Almost certain.
Card, block the grasp of the Arknight, take 1 point. Knowing there's a press in Arsenal, Logan has to tiptoe around this whole next turn.
2 cards.
Full block?
And the grasp.
Okay.
And it was a Tome of Harvests, and I wasn't sure what that other card was, but presumably things that are not going to have an impact this late in the game, aka not attacks.
Right. Oh, Rabble.
Rabble Rouse. I do think that was a blue, though, so it's only coming in
I thought it was
for 2.
a Weaver, if I'm not positive, though.
Yeah. Well, definitely not what you want to see as Taylor here.
But you can't neglect it, though. You know, the lightning press is still there.
Yeah. You have to block this for at least. I mean, you can just put 1.
3?
You can just put 1 card in front of this, right?
Yeah.
You can put a 3 block in front of this, and that's enough.
So there's the crown.
We'll see. I imagine we'll see shield. I imagine we'll probably see shield plus card here.
Yep. Well, at this point, honestly, you don't even have to use the card. You still have Oldhim activation.
Yeah,
You've got
I
2
guess.
more.
Yeah.
So you could kind of cheese the reaction
Yeah,
out.
you definitely could. That's yeah.
And honestly, this is where you like pitch. If you could find a way to pitch an ice and an earth right now, peel that last card out of his hand while preventing the other 2 and
Yeah.
shut his whole turn down. I see a so tomorrow.
I don't think Logan has a way to do that except for the pulse, though, which we know is somewhere in the middle of his deck right now.
Yeah, his only yellows right now are Pummel.
And his only he doesn't run any earth or ice reds.
Yeah.
So yeah, no way to get both of the.
He's at least going to react to pull the card out of his hands.
Okay.
But it's an instant. Oh, it's in his arsenal. Okay, so does he want to lightning press now?
I don't think you do.
Still got 3 cards.
He's gonna
left.
do it though.
Yeah.
This is gonna put Logan to 1.
But Logan still has 3 cards.
Make an embodiment of Earth.
Which that embodiment of Earth might actually really help.
It could make a huge difference here.
Making a 1-2 block for 3.
I would say if you should have a Channel Mount Heroic and you can cover up that Winner's Wail with 1 card,
yeah,
be huge. Yeah. Frostfang gonna be the play though. And you know what you can do with Frostfang? You can
pummel it.
But
Tunic is down, only 1 resource, 1 card.
I do believe he doesn't have the resources for it, unfortunately for Logan.
See, this is the game I've been waiting for all day.
This has been a good game.
This is a fun one.
This has been a good game. I really thought that Taylor was like dogged super early, but he has done an excellent way.
Really good comeback.
He's done an excellent job of keeping himself in this game. Really thinking about what his next move is here. And I don't know what color Frostfang this is, but I assume it's a blue.
Oh, he's got 3 reds.
He's got 3 reds, so I assume this is coming. So this is probably coming in for 5. Yeah, so this is demand 2 cards out of your hands.
But there is no go again.
Yeah, this is all that's
So
happening.
at the very least, you can block it. But what kind of pressure are you putting back to make sure it's in a 4-card hand next turn?
For sure.
Well, at this point, 5 cards will have the 1 arsenal.
Honestly, I think just making a go again attack for 4 and then resetting for just 2 is like enough
Yeah.
pressure
To at least pull 3 cards out.
to at least, yeah.
I mean, when you're at 1 health, yeah.
So, but we'll see what the actual turnout is here for Taylor. But like, yeah, so that if you can just get a 0 for 4 and then ideally an arsenal card, but that's the hard part.
Chat.
That's a pulse, snatch, 4
wow.
and 1.
Okay.
Exposed to elements is the pitch.
Get the arcane barrier for that.
Crown activation. Any 3 block.
So we have Brothers in Arms. Arms touch.
I imagine we'll just see the Autumn's Touch go in front here.
Yeah.
Or the Brothers in Arms, you know, either works.
But I don't know if he has an ice card to threaten the frostbite. Let's open old.
Just an, I mean,
Go to
just an open
7.
old.
Yeah, no big deal.
Just, I mean, big attack, that's good enough. Your opponent's at 2.
With no embodiment of Earth either.
No
this
embodiment
turn.
of Earth, that is gonna, that's 3 cards. You need 3 cards to cover this up. And the hard part here is like, if you're Taylor, this is a point in the game where like, you know, theoretically it would be nice to just go after you block with your 3 cards to just go Arsenal Pass.
Yeah.
But you can't do that because then your opponent might have a big dominate attack.
Exactly.
If you don't get some number of cards out of their hands. So 7 was blocked, or 8, or 9. Who knows? Enough for Taylor not taking any damage there, but it's gonna just Arsenal Pass back, and there's the Oaken Old.
Wow, yeah.
Just like just as she wrote it.
Damn it, I thought Starboy was gone.
Never really gone.
That was a good game.
That was well played.
That was a great
by
game.
both of them. I think, honestly, I think Oasis Respite was one of the best cards there. Just as a way to...
Handler was other Thorn, like, schooled it.
Just
so
as
well.
a way to prevent all 4 damage of the Rosetta Thorn without having to use Crown or Arcane Barrier was just so big.
And you think, like, all these matchups, like, how many turns typically does Rosetta Thorn actually go off for that 4 damage? I'd say most games average 3 to 5, like, maybe. So, it just fills in those gaps, if you have it at the right time, perfectly.
Well, we'll get Logan over here in a moment to have a chat. But I do believe we only have a few minutes left in the round, so we're going to have a pretty quick turnaround here for round number 6. But good stuff to both of those players, I have to say. Really cleanly played. I feel like, you know, if Taylor had just managed to find one of those Channel Mount Heroics a little sooner, or a Sonata to shuffle them back in and get that chance to, you know, get a good channel turn. I mean, there are a lot of small things in that game that if they'd just gone a little differently, I think we would have seen a different result. But that's the thing that keeps those close games interesting, is like the minutia of the decisions really makes a big impact towards the result.
And I think the only real misplay we had was the double lightning press on the fully blocked Stormy Moonveil that was already prevented.
Yeah, I think if
we would have kept the one in the game a little bit longer.
And the thing is, right, that 1 point of damage mattered because Logan was at 1 at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So if he had just held on to that lightning press, then
one more trick later on.
That might have been enough to put him over the top. So it really goes to show how much every little thing matters when it comes to stuff like this.
Sorry, I'm texting work.
You're good. Let me go try to grab Logan and see if we can't have a few words before we get to our next rounds.
I want to hear his reaction to how do you feel the arm wrestling match was pushing against Logan. He kind of pivoted back. Just that Oak and Old, no big deal.
So, hey there. I think the big story of that game was it definitely looked like you had a strong lead at the start there.
Yeah.
I imagine you probably felt very comfortable as the game was starting. But as things began to pivot and we saw a couple of those strong turns from Taylor, how did you begin to mentally shift as the momentum began to kind of change in the matchup?
Well, I knew at one point my life had to be lower just so it could turn on my Oasis respites that I haven't seen yet. And throughout that game, I think I played 2 and a game life on each of them. And I ended that game at 1, so that really helped. But when he had I really misplayed not taking consideration the Amulet of Earth on the Ravenous Rabble. That really hurt me. And at that point, I was like, I need to start blocking now. Because my list is very aggro. I like to, every turn I want to pummel something and make them have less cards. That's just what I want to do. But I feel I got very lucky on, he did 2 Force of Natures without fusing. And then when he had the first channel mount out, he had both channel mounts in hand, had to pitch them. And I think that's the only reason I won was because he only played 1 channel mount.
What made you bring Oldhim to the event today? What was
it's my pet deck. I thought it was a pretty bad choice. I thought there was going to be a bajillion prisms. I've only met 1, but I know 2 are guaranteed top 8, so I have to dodge it to make top 4.
What would you consider to be the most interesting piece of equipment in your equipment suite?
Oh, the quelling slippers.
And why are you running those in addition to your other more traditional pieces of leg equipment?
I was expecting a little bit more Fi, and I thought it felt really good in Fi. It feels pretty good in Tatsu. And I love them. They're so cool.
Great cosplay.
Yeah, where's Oldhim wearing slippers? That's what I want. Oldhim wearing slippers in deep blue.
I better see that at Worlds. I want to see it.
Get on it.
If you could create a world where there was one additional card to kind of help make some adjustments to Oldhim, what would you like to see in the future?
Like make up a card?
Yeah.
0, dominate, go again, +2.
If it hits, destroy an item. I think it'd be pretty cool. Aura. Yeah, never mind. Fuck the items. Auras. I hate auras.
Like a generic one?
It could be generic. Something I could pummel, preferably.
Okay.
Yeah.
If other than Prism, which is obviously the Oldhim's nightmare of a matchup.
Yeah, I cry at night.
What kind of decks do you want to try to avoid in the current meta?
Ice Lexi's just annoying. I feel like I just have to fatigue it. I just don't like how long it takes. But other than that, Briar is kind of like a grindy match, as you guys saw. Really, the only deck that I don't feel comfortable with is Prism. I feel like I can at least play the game against everything else.
And is there anything else in your deck list that you feel is worth discussing as a little bit of spice? Uprising just came out. I'm running Red Oasis, which is fantastic. Blue Brothers at Arms, which is amazing. It's great. I love it. Erase Face is fantastic. I played against a Fi earlier today, and Erase Face just kept him in check the whole game. That's all the questions I have. I know we have a quick turnover here because I think the next round's about to start. But
Yeah, we took a while.
You have one
That's
more.
the question I have for you.
Yep.
One thing you don't really get to see as much in the Oldhim matchup is like the hero ability really being utilized. I think you had some great opportunities in that game. You nailed quite a few of those. Like we actually kind of peel his hand apart versus prevent the damage. Like that one pulse was like probably like the perfect setup to kind of pull him back.
Yeah.
Do you find a lot of your games actually truly utilizing the Oldhim ability, or is it very like niche matchups?
I used to run a lot more Earth Reacts, but then I realized that I just need better cards to turn on Rouse the Ancients. But getting to like late game and having those Earth cards to help cover breakpoints and having Ice just to disrupt, like earlier today, what was it? Someone was it this game? He was gonna draw a card and not Ice React, and he put the card he was gonna draw. He put the card in his hand on top and ended up drawing that instead. So it did nothing. He kept the same card, has no knowledge of what's beneath that card, or can filter his hand and figure out which card he wants to arsenal. So I think setting up those kinds of turns are pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty important.
Awesome. Well, it was actually a great game. That's what you want to see, like a real like this tug of war arm wrestling match where just kind of the favorite kind of tilts back and forth. It's actually really enjoyable. It's the best game we've watched all day. So
Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah.
I tried really hard. Well, having everyone watch and knowing I'm on stream, my heartbeat was just going.
Oh crap!
Because I was pretty sure I was dead, and I was like, I guess I just keep blocking.
Honestly, at one point we thought you were too, and you just kept like inching it out. You got that pivot back.
Oasis
you just got the open hole, you're like,
yeah, just draw it off the top, you know.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do, right?
I'll say that was one of the best games I think I've ever.
Although in my arsenal was Macho Grande, so the moment he arsenal passed, I was gonna come in with dominate attack.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, I can come in for 4. He's going to crown, and then he's going to, block out, and nothing happens here.
I think setting it up is important because like you're basically trying to dodge me having a hand of all blues with one ice blue for Glacial Footsteps, or a Macho Grande turn, which I know I blocked with some of both of those cards throughout the game, or just draw Okanold off the top. So
It was a great game. I'm like all about that game.
yeah, it was fun. My favorite Flesh and Blood games are the grindy games that almost go to time. Like I don't want free time. If I wanted free time, I'd be playing Katsu or Fi.
Oh, right.
I don't know. Briar's a little bit more. It takes more time.
I just need to get my winning in here.
yeah.
Yeah, hey, you're gonna get it, bro.
I'm gonna try.
Someone out.
Rematch, finals, you and me.
I hope so.
All right.
Yeah, not that Prism nonsense. Ugh.
No, I'm gonna see Prism in top 8, first round and lose. It's fine.
I hope the top 8's like Prism versus Prism first round.
Yes.
Like cuts one of them.
Although that would have to be like first seed and 8th seed, or second seed and
Maybe Matt W can be a Matt L. So
Or I think they should play against each other in the final round. Are they both undefeated right now?
I think so.
So they'll see each other in the final round. Guaranteed they won't be against each other first round of the top 8. Yeah. Because one will be first seed and the other will probably be second or third.
Okay, that's fair.
And then I'll be hopefully nowhere near them.
Yeah.
I just gotta win one game in top 8.
Sounds good.
Hi
Good
guys.
luck. Best of luck.
Hi mom. All right.
I did it, Mom! I made it!
All right, so we got what? 2 more rounds?
Yeah, 2 more rounds.
Two
Then we
more
break
rounds?
the top 8. Oh, it finally started raining.
We're gonna throw it to break while we get the next round set up. And we